On our program tonight, well, this is the one. This is the motion picture that they say is now going to make all the money in the world. And we have one of the stars of that film, Carrie Fisher, is here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. From the motion picture Revenge of the Jedi, is that correct? Revenge or Return? All right. Does it make a lot of difference? It doesn't make a lot of difference. Ladies and gentlemen, my thanks once again to Dr. Nichols for allowing us to have the, well, actually it's the largest vase in America, if certainly not in the world, and still the pride is a wonderful feeling. Now, my first guest tonight is a versatile stage and film actress who made her screen debut in the motion picture Shampoo and became famous as Princess Leia. She is currently appearing in the latest Star Wars movie, Return of the Jedi. Please welcome Carrie Fisher. What'd you say?
I just wondered.
You just wondered what?
Talk show protocol, I don't know. Do we sit down? Or...
Eventually, you're,
yes, okay.
you're requested to sit down.
Okay.
Yeah, I never know what to do either. I guess, in my case, I should wait till the guest is seated.
Sits, yeah.
Or the princess, surely. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I screwed up the name of the movie. I called it whatever I called it. I'm
Revenge.
sorry. Yeah. I hope
It's
it doesn't
okay.
hurt the box office.
No, I think it'll be okay.
Now, this. How do you feel about this? Is the third? Is there going to be another one? What do they say?
I don't think so. I mean, Han and I sort of choosing what planet to live on and having a child that grows up with hair like that and so forth. No, I think they were considering doing the prequels, 1, 2, and 3. And I don't know that they're going to do that now. I think Mr. Lucas is very tired.
Yeah. How about you? Would you be interested in doing another one if they...
Choosing a planet and stuff like that, yeah.
Does it, how does it affect you now that you can go into stores and buy stuff that looks like you, the merchandising?
It doesn't look like me. The second one they came out with looked like Eddie Munster, the Empire doll, and I was very upset by that. As upset as you can get about dolls in your likeness. I don't like the shampoo that much, because you can screw my head off and pour liquid out of my neck and wash your hair.
Yeah.
And it says, lather up with Leia and you'll feel like a princess yourself.
Well, that's, now do you have to give your approval for that sort of thing?
I signed my likeness away, so they made me into a racer and stuff like that.
But they don't even come to you and say, this is as close as we can get, is that all right? They don't...
No, no.
Yeah.
Not at all. They just take it from pictures and so on.
How, when you're making these movies, you do a lot of acting to...
Nothing.
Yeah, things that are filled in later, right?
Yes.
Like talking little fuzzy guys and a lot of laser fights and that sort of thing. So how do you do that?
When they say action, you just do it. I started doing the films when I was 19, so it's one of my specialties, except for a type of chicken that I can make. That's real good. But, I mean, really? You just go, ah! And that's about it. Or, no, look, get down there, they're doing this. And that's what you do.
And you're not sure what you're getting...
You feel like an idiot in the beginning, and then eventually it's just...
yeah.
That's it.
Now, when there is a scene in which, when you're sitting in the theater watching it, there's a lot of tension, and maybe you're frightened, theater-goers, I mean... Are you frightened and filled with tension when you do it? Or is there any sense of...
Certain times where I was frightened when they put a squib on my arm and my arm caught fire. I was frightened before it caught fire. I thought I would feel it and it would hurt.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen other people blow up before. They blow up people on the back.
This is a device that would simulate an explosion or something?
Yes, my arm caught fire and Harrison had to sort of hit the wound. But it's the tension when we did the swing across. And those are scary because they just shoot the rehearsal. Then you like it and want to do it again because you didn't die. Yeah. But you don't have to do it again.
But you know what I'm saying? In a scene where it's whatever you do, don't open the door, don't open the door, and,
yes,
and then you open the door.
Sometimes there's certain reactions to a gun or something. And they can do that. When we see the films, we see them exactly like everybody else. I mean, we don't see giant speeders careening across. We do it to a blue screen, and they put all that on later. Yeah. So going into hyperspace and so on, we never would see that. We would just react.
What is that chicken recipe?
It's, It's you broil it, and then there's a soy sauce, which you can combine with the barbecue sauce on the other side, which is very good. Served with the broccoli and
broccoli is a nice addition to any chicken
and the corn
dish.
and the sweet corn.
And sweet corn.
Yeah.
It's tough to get really good fresh sweet corn,
And
though.
follow that vase, I think.
Well, the vase. The vase, yeah, it's vase. I think in Iowa it's probably a vase.
Vase.
I know it is in Indiana. We're going to look at a few seconds of your new film, Return and/or Revenge of the Jedi, with Carrie Fisher right after this, folks. Return. Some of that film. And I know what this is. Tell the folks what it is. It's a very exciting scene, isn't it?
This is the motorcycle sequence. And I don't know how to set this up. We're being chased once again by the horrible stormtrooper people. And we're on flying motorcycles, Harley Davidsons in space.
All right, we'll look at this, and then when this is finished, I want you to explain to me how this was accomplished.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay, here we go. The Carrie Fisher and Return of the Jedi and the motorcycle, you know.
Over there! Two more of them! I see them! Wait, Leia! Hey, wait! Quick, jam their comlink. Center switch! That one.
That's very exciting. How did you do that?
That was one of the most boring sequences we had to shoot. That was in front of a blue screen once again, on top of 30-foot poles with these sort of plastic bikes. And we would just sit there and they'd turn a wind machine on us. And we'd go like this and go like that. And oh, look this way, look over there. Now he's coming. And they'd blow up a squib. And then somebody stayed up in Crescent City and walked very slowly and took, I think it was one frame at a time, just walked through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't say all this, then it ruins it for everyone.
No, it doesn't ruin it.
Those are actually flying things, and it was very exciting. They'll be on the market soon. I don't want to spoil this for everyone.
Yeah, I know the Russians have had those flying motorcycles for years. And now we're just finally, thank God for them, too.
How I got here.
But it's terribly exciting, that particular. There's something about the motorcycles flying through a redwood forest that's very exciting.
It's very appealing.
Yeah. In this movie, you also talk to more little fuzzy guys, don't you? Mm-hmm. Now, they actually figured out a language for those guys, didn't they? Or thought they did?
They have Ewokese, and for the new character, Jabba the Hutt, who they compare to Edward G. Robinson and a slug, that's Huttonese. And they actually do go to UCLA and get a language expert and develop some sort of language. Sort of like that.
Yeah.
But they never talk, when we perform with them, they just sort of go like this, and then they put in the sounds later.
But now, why do they go to the trouble of getting an expert to come in and figure out just what you did there?
More fun.
It makes it more fun.
For more talk here.
Oh, I
see. Just said they went, I couldn't have told that whole long thing.
But are there, in fact, people who would probably not go to the movie because they heard it was not authentic
authentic language?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't have done the film.
Well, I don't blame you then. To heck with it.
No, I've got principles about this stuff.
I was reading a book about Michael Todd, and in the book, your father is mentioned. a good friend of Michael Todd's. And they are in Florida, and Mr. Todd arranges kind of an impromptu concert on the beach for your father to sing. And I thought, well, must have been pretty embarrassing circumstances for your father. And you tell me that was pretty much the way he was. He was
everywhere.
On. Yeah.
The world was a shower to him. He just sang everywhere. He would sing all the time.
And now, was that, as a kid, was that fun to be around?
I think there were a couple of years where I might have been embarrassed. He would do it in shopping malls, and he wasn't totally inconspicuous anywhere. And he was, Carrie, come here, there's a toy on the shelf. And, Dad, come on, please.
Yeah.
Eat all your food, or...
And what about your mother? Was she performing on all of it? Yeah.
She had pratfalls. He had singing in stores. She'd do pratfalls.
I also, this afternoon, found out that one of your long-range goals, and I don't think it can be accomplished now, you wanted to be the center square on Hollywood Squares.
I did. I wanted to do with Greta Garbo to block, and I wanted to be a really interesting... Yeah, Fred Flintstone to win, please, and just the whole...
It may not happen now.
I don't think so.
Sad but true. So what are you going to do now after this particular project? What is the next one looming on the horizon?
I think I want to do play a princess for HBO, in a fairy tale.
Oh, really?
I'm just going to do princesses from now on.
Well,
you know, it's a living.
Apparently good dough in it, yeah. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for your time tonight, and good luck with this movie, for heaven's sake. Carrie Fisher, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with more next time. My first guest tonight burst into prominence in 1977 as Luke Skywalker. Currently, he is in New York City playing quite a different character, Mozart, in the Broadway production of Amadeus, and we're more than happy to have him with us here tonight. Please welcome Mr. Mark Hamill. Mark. Mark, how are you, sir? Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being on the program. And by the way, I thought you were terrific in Return of the Jedi.
Thank you.
A very nice job there,
Thanks
sir.
very much.
Let's talk a little bit about the part you're currently playing.
I started thinking that I should get back to why I became an actor in the first place, because I did a lot of plays in high school and in college. None of my family was in show business.
What did they do? What did your folks
Well, my
do?
father was in the Navy. I have a brother who's a doctor who is considered the success of the family to this day.
Oh, I see.
You know, I'd done a lot of television, and I'd been working, basically, I'm 31 now, I've been basically working steadily since I was 17. And of course, in 77, I became an overnight success and discovered that people sort of forget, really, that the films were made for young people. George Lucas wanted to make like the ultimate Saturday matinee. We never thought we'd be reviewed by Time magazine. We just thought we'd be making a real good popcorn movie. Yeah. And I wasn't worried about typecasting or anything else that the journalists would ask me. And then I discovered that it's really true. First of all, there are not a lot of films being made. There are tremendous financial risks involved. And the only way that you can really sort of keep your finger in the pot, so to speak, is come to New York, do workshops. Anybody can audition for plays. If you can just make it in off the street, they'll see you. And that wasn't always the case in California. So I started auditioning for everything. It didn't matter. I mean,
now, what was the reaction? Because this was after the success of the first movie, so you're a big deal. Now, what was the reaction to the people that you were auditioning with when they said,
well, there was a guy
look, Mark Hamill wants to be in the play.
There was a guy at the Amadeus audition who was also auditioning for Mozart, and he said, "What are you doing here? Well, you got the film rights to the play or something?" I said, no, I'm just trying out like everybody else.
They're suspicious a little bit, huh?
Suspicious, yes. They thought maybe I was some sort of entrepreneur or something. But I don't know, I auditioned for it, and I sort of got myself into a situation that I couldn't extricate myself from. I wasn't really relishing the idea. I did it with the national tour with John Wood and Michelle Seiler for 6 months. In fact, they're at the Fisher Theater in Detroit now, so if anyone's in the Michigan area, charter a bus, sell the family pet, and get out and see the show. It's a wonderful production, the national tour. But, you know, I was auditioning for Sir Peter Hall. And, I mean, fortunately, he had no idea who I was, but, I mean, I was still terrified. But I knew I had the element of surprise going for me, because, you know, people, when they see a special effects movie like that and they know it's not real, they just can't imagine that you're really doing anything. you know, because they know it's magic of some sort. But I auditioned for him, and I wound up being offered the role, and I thought I'd never be able to live with myself if I said, hey, you know what, I turned down Amadeus, and they'd say, yeah, sure. So yesterday I gave my 213th performance. So now I know what it's like to do a long run.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now this guy, Mr. Mozart, from what I know of this, he was kind of he was twisted a little. He was a little...
Well, he was a child prodigy who never really grew up, and he was the first freelance musician in the sense that you had to have a commission to be able to write music in those days. And really, it's mostly based on the fact that Peter Shaffer was a musical critic for the London Times, and he came across these letters that were really scatological in content and a real earthy humor. And
letters from...
letters to his cousin, Bosley, to his wife, Constanza. But the whole family was like that.
They were
the mother
all
was
nuts,
like that, the father was like that. They were from a provincial town, Salzburg, which was sort of like a joke to people in Vienna. And I think he was his own worst enemy. He always spoke his own mind. But the contrast, the real spark for the play is how could this man who wrote this incredibly pure music be someone who could jump up on furniture and imitate animals and goose people and drink wine and do kind of, you know, I mean, because they've always painted him as this porcelain figure. I first heard about it when Paul Scofield was doing it at the National, and I figured Paul Scofield was playing Mozart. I had no idea. I mean, I really didn't have a background in classical music. But it's really wonderful for me to play a character that's not really likable, especially in Act One.
Yeah.
And since I'm playing to a lot of out-of-towners now, because most New Yorkers have seen Amadeus, they're still shocked. I can't believe it sometimes, because it's fairly tame, but since they're in 18th century garb,
well,
it's more shocking.
In all honesty, the stuff that I heard this afternoon and that we were discussing was, I would be shocked by it.
Well,
unfortunately, we can't tell people what's so shocking about it, but you're going to have to trust us here. It's just ugly beyond your wildest imagination. We got to pause for a commercial. Mark Hamill and I will return. Mark Hamill is here. You mentioned a name that I didn't recognize when you mentioned it, and let's point out who that was.
Sir Peter Hall?
Yes, I've never heard of him.
He's the founder of the Royal Shakespeare Company, and he was at the National Theatre in London. The chances of me ever working with him are so negligible. I thought I better take this or I'll never get the chance. They do bring a lot of English casts to America, but it's not really reciprocal. I don't think they let Americans go to England very much. But he's a biggie. Yeah. So, but also too, he had no idea. I mean, he has never seen Star Wars.
This guy has not gone to Star Wars?
No. He's like the guy who refuses to see E.T.
Oh yeah.
But I think he's pretty busy, you know. So.
Yeah. Let me ask you about a story of people camping out in your front yard in California. Although maybe we don't want to talk about that because you don't want to encourage that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like people that talk about the merchandising or anything else. It's supply and demand. It's like any maybe pop group or a hit television series. It is supply and demand. If kids want to bring lunch boxes with that particular thing on it, it amuses me, actually, because, I mean, look at how quaint some of the Beatles bubble bath looks these days. It'll probably be just collector's items in another 10 years.
But what about the, in addition to the, it's the band, they have another job during this time every night. They're,
I thought that was a rim shot, and I didn't say anything funny.
No, we wouldn't do that. But you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you have a home, suddenly the movie comes out, you're a major star, and you got people living on your yard.
Well, it was, and also they'd look through the window, so you'd find yourself going to change channels on the TV on your hands and knees. He said, this is no way to live.
No, that's not good.
This is no way to live, so I moved, and, you know,
But didn't you at one point actually kind of deputize these folks?
Well, I thought I better get them on my side, you know, don't alienate them, so I'd go out and sign secret pacts where they wouldn't reveal the whereabouts of my secret abode, and actually have them house sit when I would leave and pick up my mail, you know, throw out all the leftovers in the fridge that were getting kind of rancid.
People like that are generally pretty responsible, so you want to put them in charge of your property.
Better an ally than an enemy. By the way, the cast at the Broadhurst said, bribe David, go on and shamelessly So this is from the cast at the Broadhurst, and they thought you'd like a T-shirt.
I do like T-shirts.
Well, there you go. It's all yours.
I'll wear this with a great deal of pride. Thank you very much, Mark. It's awful nice. Thank you, sir.
Now you don't have to see the play.
No, I'd go see this play in a minute. Not, I mean, they don't pass these out at the door anyway, do they?
No.
Tell me about before you got into full-time acting and stardom and so forth. You had other jobs?
Yeah, I did. You know, I was a janitor. I worked at an ice cream store. I worked at Associated Press.
Which ice cream store? Can you say?
Yeah, well, it's closed now, called Will Wright's. It was in Southern California.
Will Wright's, I'm not familiar with it.
It folded soon after I worked there.
Good ice cream?
Very good ice cream, yeah.
Okay. And after that, you worked for...
I worked for Associated Press for about 30 minutes. I thought it was like the front page, you know. I wanted to be like Ben Hecht and Charles MacArthur with a hat and a press card, you know. I had delusions of being Jimmy Olsen or something. Instead, I was sweeping out the stock room and cutting copy, and it was very frustrating. And I finally I thought it was funny at the time.
How old were you then?
17.
Just a kid, a punk.
Mr. Punk to you. But I went in, I thought this was amusing. I thought at least to get the attention of the city editor, and I kicked the door open, and I said, "Stop the presses, Chief. I got a story that'll set this town right on its ear." He looked up from the desk and said, "Get out." And so I did, but what I didn't realize, because I came back to work the next day, and there was a pink slip in my box. He meant, like, get out of the building, out of my life.
Yeah.
Totally
out of the hemisphere, gone.
Gone.
Your history.
History, right.
Now, what are you going to do when the play closes, or when you leave it? What is your, like you were talking about, probably not going to be another Star Wars, and would you do one if there was going to be another one?
Well, George is very, very tired. He's spoken sort of obliquely about a third trilogy, which won't be till like 2011. And as proud as I am to have a job lined up at the turn of the century, I mean, I can't really relate to it. I, for all, intents and purposes, I just figure, well, that's it. And I feel very lucky to have been able to do it. I know it's not a great showcase for actors, but I mean, I'm just starting out. I should be grateful. And I have a feeling that going on some of the talk shows, like when I was on Tom Snyder, I just came off sort of bitter. And I don't feel that way, really. I had a real good time doing the movies. But I'd like to try other things. I'd love to meet a writer or a director that would like to sort of take that image, whatever image I have, and sort of mangle it for the American public.
But you do.
Which is why I did Lindsay Anderson's film. I didn't get paid for it. It was just a chance to, I mean, there are directors that I would work for without reading a script or anything.
This was the third in the series of, the name of the film?
Oh, well, the Britannia Hospital. I haven't seen it. I'm probably in it for like 30 seconds. But the idea was I should show people that I'm mostly interested in a good role, not so much in the money.
Well, you make a good point that this is just the beginning of a career. Actors,
hopefully.
I mean,
And I love doing comedy. I'm a tremendous fan of the Monty Python people and Albert Brooks and, well, you and a lot of American...
Oh, now, you don't need to say that kind of stuff. You gave me the shirt, Mark. Let's don't push our luck here.
No, you're okay, but... is that better?
No, that's fine. That's perfect.
No, but the thing is, too, I mean, you want to show people that you are courageous, that you want to take chances, that you don't want to just... If I didn't feel serious about my career, I would just take the money and run and retire. Because, George was very generous. He cut us in on the profits, and if we spend it carefully, we probably won't have to work again for a long time.
Listen, I hate to cut you off here, but we're running a little bit late, and you got to go perform anyway tonight. It was a pleasure meeting you, Mark. Thanks for being here. Mr. Mark Hamill, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back, folks. Very much, Paul. Tomorrow on this program, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the comedy team of Franken and Davis. Fine gentlemen, fine examples of Americans, and we're happy to have them with us. Also, actor Albert Haig, former Secretary of State, now acting, will be, I guess that was Al Haig. He'll be here tomorrow. Once again, my thanks to Mark Hamill for being here. When we found out Mark was going to be on the show, we realized that probably a lot of really hardcore Star Wars fans would be in the audience, and it turns out that that's the case. In fact, in talking to some of you people while you're waiting for tickets earlier today, there is one person in this audience who has seen the new movie 3 times. And there's also somebody else who has seen all 3 of the Star Wars movies. So it gets almost fanatical. So we thought it might be a good idea to really put together a Trivia Buffs trivia quiz for the... Now, this may be a little rarefied for the average moviegoer, but I think for the people here in the studio audience, it'll be a lot of fun. So if you want to take the quiz, and you folks at home, we're going to reveal the answers after you've had a chance to play with the question. So this could be a lot of fun for all of North America. Okay, if you're ready, here's our first question in the Star Wars trivia quiz. The character played by the gentleman who was just here in Star Wars, his name was Luke blank. Luke blank. Take your time. That's right. Luke Skywalker was the character of that man who was just here. Now, question number 2. This is a quote from the movies. May the blank be with you. Okay, and the answer, the Force. That's right. Okay, now, if you don't know at home, just guess on some of these. Now, question number 3. The 2 mechanical friends who helped Luke Skywalker were... And the answer... That's right, they were robots. That's right. Okay. Question number 4. Spell Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, and the answer... Yeah. I know we screwed that up, but it's still a good question. Now, question number 5. Darth Vader's voice was very... All right. And the answer, raspy. That's right. Very raspy. Question number 6. The candy that the little boy used to capture Yoda... I know, it's a little tricky. Think. And the answer, Reese's Pieces. That's right. Okay, now, we're not done here. We have a couple more. Carrie Fisher, who plays Princess Leia, is the daughter of entertainer Eddie Fisher. This is common knowledge. The objects Eddie wears around his neck are called... All right, and the answer, gold chains. That's correct. Some of these are real brain teasers, aren't they? Now, question number 8. George Lucas, the man responsible for these movies, makes more money than... And the answer, you. That's right. He makes more money than you. Okay, now, we hope you played along at home, and the folks here in the studio audience took the test, and we'll compute the results and have the winner, our audience winner, out at the end of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for all your help there. We're going to go away for a commercial. We'll be back with cartoonist Jack Ziegler. We're nearly out of time. We did want to introduce you to the winner of the Star Wars Trivia Quiz, and your name is Susan...
Boroday.
Boroday, Susan, and you did very well. She got 7 out of 8 questions correct, and even you even knew the names of the 2 robots, R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, tell the folks the question you missed. It was the one about Darth Vader's voice, and you said his voice was...
Guttural.
Guttural. And the correct answer, of course, was...
Raspy.
Raspy, yeah. But a nice job, nonetheless, Susan. So we're going to give you this Burger Chef Star Wars, Burger King Star Wars glass. Congratulations. Thanks for helping us out. Nice job. Tomorrow night, folks, we will have the comedy team of Franken and Davis plus actor Albert Haig. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.